All right. The Department of Education is closed today for security reasons following an announcement that its staff is being slashed by nearly 50%. Education Secretary Linda McMahon called it a significant step towards restoring the greatness of the U.S. education system. CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is outside the Department of Education. So Linda McMahon weighing in, that great legal and education scholar. Caitlin, why were employees told to stay home?
Hey, Vlad. Well, they were actually sent this kind of cryptic email yesterday saying you have to evacuate the building by 6 p.m. It's going to be closed again through Wednesday without really giving a reason as to why. They noted security concerns, but we've been standing out here since about 6:30 this morning, and we haven't seen any such concerns. After staff received that email, we then learned, and they then learned, that half of the staff at the agency was put on administrative leave. That's about 1,500, over 1,500 members or employees put on administrative leave. Now, the agency says that they will continue to service core programs of the department, but this is also making clear this is the first step of dismantling this agency. I mean, the president has made clear, not only while he's been in office, but over and over again on the campaign trail, that he wants to abolish the Department of Education. Linda McMahon said in an interview just yesterday that these firings are the first step in that effort.
So Caitlin, I was a kid when the Department of Education was born. As you know, it came about during the Carter administration. My mom was a single mom, just gone through a divorce. She was back in school. I was on one of those free lunch programs for a couple of years. Could we be talking about the loss of programs like that are so critical? I'm just thinking back to myself and how instrumental it was to my well-being while my mother was getting back on her feet. Could programs like that be lost?
Yeah, and that is the biggest concern, Vlad. Here's what we know. First of all, to get rid of the Department of Education, you have to have Congress decide that. It was implemented by Congress, and to be taken apart has to be done by Congress. But what we're seeing here is kind of following the pattern of what we saw with USAID, another agency that abolishing that would require an act of Congress. So they're figuring out ways to kind of get around this by dismantling the agency and moving some of these programs in their plan to other agencies. So there's a lot of confusion sometimes about what the Department of Education does. Local and state governments are the ones that fund the bulk of public schools. The Department of Education just provides a small sliver of it. But what the department does do is provide programs that you just mentioned. Enforcing civil rights laws, servicing students with disabilities, funding those schools, funding low-income schools through Title I, administering Pell Grants and federal student loans. Those are the things that the department does. Now, in her confirmation hearing, Linda McMahon did acknowledge that Congress has to play a role if they want to abolish it altogether. But she did say that some of those key programs, like students with disabilities and others, would be moved to different agencies. So there are a lot of questions about what that would actually look like and whether those programs would be serviced the same way they are through this agency.
Critical reporting there from Caitlin Huey-Burns outside of the Department of Education for us this morning. Thank you, Caitlin.